I feel like I misscheduled the stream because I was supposed. No, no, yep. See, I am. I misscheduled the stream. It was supposed to be at 10 a.m. and I put it down for 9 a.m. And so this is all my fault. In case you're wondering if this is my fault, it's totally my fault. I usually catch these mistakes beforehand. So it's not even 10 o'clock, but I panicked. You see. I saw that the stream was supposed to be occurring right now. And then I looked, it's like, wow, the stream was supposed to happen like at 9 a.m., which would have been difficult for me to do both shows at the same time. I think I'm live. Should I be live? I think I'm live. What's going on? I don't know, Lee Spanner. I don't know. But I am live. I am here. I have no idea. That's right. No idea. No idea. So hey, so no one's here with me in the green room. So you know the policy, right, everyone? I talk, I hang out with you all for like 10 minutes. What's up, Derek Cruz? B, Scott Duke, Black Female Atheist, everyone. So I'm here for like 10 minutes. If no one else comes in, then I'll bid you adieu. And then I'll just go about my daily business, I guess. I'm gonna write another. What are my big plans today? I'm glad you asked. I'm gonna write another blog post. Go do some exercising. I exercised yesterday, which didn't suck. And I got to make a list. I got to make a list of crap to do. So this is the kind of exciting stuff that goes on. Lee says, of course, in Britain, they use an R at the end of the word idea when the next word starts with a vowel. I did not know that, Lee. I did not know that. I think that probably I've heard other people throw an R at the end of idea too. I've heard other people do it because I'm thinking maybe it's some kind of artifact from my speech therapy that I had when I was a kid. That now I just like putting R's in places that they don't belong. But no, I think it's just a dialect kind of issue. What's up, Bonnie? And Dr. Osiris. I saw the first episode of Marvel's What If series yesterday. I grew up reading some What If comics, the series. It's about alternative realities and what if someone made a choice and then storylines go in totally different directions for comics. And so, hey, frustrated since 2016's here. What's up, Sam?
I haven't changed my name.
We know who you are.
I should have changed it to. Hang on, here we go. I'll change it.
All right. Girlfriend says it's a Boston thing, huh? Okay, good. A broken man. Okay.
I feel I'm a little bit sad, Andy.
I think we should do a little therapy session here. So was there an incident that brought you to this particular title, A Broken Man?
There was.
Oh, tell me.
You wanted two incidents.
Oh, so what happened?
I won't say who these people are, but just, I guess it's enough to say that it's people that should know better. But 2 days in a row now, I've had people come to me and ask whether being vaccinated is going to be mandatory at work, and whether I'm getting vaccinated. But the thing that really broke me was someone that said to me, it's like 1,000 people. And I said, yeah, in Australia. and jumped on Google and showed this person that it's about 4.5 million people now have died. And I had to go to another site before she'd believe that it was real. And she couldn't believe it.
Well, one, I just want to say congratulations on changing someone's heart and mind on this. Congratulations on that, sir.
I was going to say that there was that silver lining that at least I affected her.
Yes.
And she's gone from staunch to now questioning, which
good
is, all you can ask for, I guess.
I mean, if you can turn someone on the other side and make them into a pro-vax person, pro-public health person, and then they can infect their friends and people within their clique. I mean, that's really a really good goal to have, because if it sounds like you made a significant step in that direction with that person.
Yeah, I can't get over I mean, these aren't dumb people, Andy.
Oh yeah.
And 1,000, like, I don't watch the news really, but I'm sure that the news report actual numbers. So,
yeah,
Well,
that's the reason why it's so important to use legitimate news sources, right? If you are going to get news, then you just don't trust your brothers, cousins, nephews, friend of a friend that posted something on Facebook. And you go use legitimate news sites, sites that can be trusted.
Exactly. In both instances, so one instance was one person. The second time there was two people. And every time I said, how do you know that? And you'd see them have to think, how do I know that?
Right.
You just heard it. Like I said, and they're like, why are you so pro? And I said, because look. And that's when I looked up the stats and I said,
Right.
I just Google it. Like, I don't take people's word for stuff,
Yeah. Just the basic and it's life and death. It's a life and death situation.
Exactly. And when we were looking at the numbers, we were looking at, they were like, well, why is everyone so against it? And I noticed that they were reporting the number of cases, and the next column was the number, what's the word when you get better?
You get better rate. That's not helping.
Yeah.
recovery
Thanks,
rate.
Andy.
Recovery rate is
recovery rate. Thank you. And it's very high, obviously, because not everyone's dying from it.
Yeah.
And that's what people are looking at. And I said, yeah, but see, just the 1,000 in Australia, that's 1,000 of somebody's nan, dad, mum, brother, sister, whatever. I'm sure those people feel differently.
Yes. And also, it's the cases of long COVID too. People walking around with brain fog, people with getting organ damage. And I'm sure that this is the thing that breaks your brain, broken man, is that if you're working with people who are impaired, physically, intellectually impaired, people who may not have the best immune systems, that's part of your job is not to spread disease to them. It may not be in your official employee packet, but should it really need to be? Should it be like, oh, I'm not going to be a vector of contagion for the people who I serve?
Yeah.
That's just part of the job.
I think, and the only saving grace apart from that, I think I managed to actually at least get people to see that it's not the way they thought, at the very least.
Yeah.
I forget what I
Well,
was going to say.
just asking them, how do you know what you know?
And I just lost my...
Know what you know. Oh no, you lost your audio?
I lost my headphones, and I'll probably get an echo. So
I don't hear any echo
shall
yet.
I don't hear any echo. Do you hear any echo from me?
No. Excellent.
Sorry, Andy. I heard vector of contagion, and poof, I appear.
Right, just like magic, Dave. Here's the Canadian to tell you about how great their healthcare system is.
Well, I'm not boasting or anything, but I have a nurse here right now, so you know.
I'm sure you do, Dave. I'm sure you do. You know, I'm sure every single rabbit out in your garden probably has a vet servicing it too.
Did I tell you I built a swimming pool for the bunny rabbits?
You told me that you do have a pool to lounge in, and now I do hear a slight echo, but isn't that bad?
Oh, yeah. I put floaty chairs in there for them so that they can hang out in the sunshine.
Well, that's very generous, Dave.
Yeah.
Can rabbits swim?
Oh yeah. Rabbits are good swimmers.
But my rabbit knowledge is not that major, not too breadthy or depthy.
Well, I don't know if you know this or not, but my friend Dr. Kennard, he is a scientician of rabbitology.
He is. He is a scientician of rabbitology. Apparently, he does a lot of things. My girlfriend was giving me a hassle the other day about why is it always Andrew Kennard? It's like, well, my first name's Andrew. Why is it when you use the female version? And this is the kind of conversations you have, by the way, when you're dating me. And so she goes, so why do you use the word Andrea when you're using the female version of Andrew Kennard? Well, it's like, and I said, well, Andrea is the female version of Andrew, so it seems to be a logical kind of thing to do. But I did not realize, gentlemen, and this is my own numbness here in my head, is that I had a previous girlfriend named Andrea.
It's just the familiarity of name.
Is that what I'll use that for my defense. But so now I'm going to be
Amy,
changing it around.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Kennard will always be Bernard Kennard to me.
Bernard Kennard.
Very nice.
Not always benign, but definitely Bernard Kennard.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think you should just leave it at A, Dr. A. Kennard, and let people decide if it's male or female or whatever. Just A. Kennard. And A. Kennard is, part of a plane, so it gives it some validity.
No. Tesla Ranger says the study of rabbits is lagamophobia. You knew that, Dave?
I've heard it before. I probably couldn't, obviously, it didn't spill off my tongue at the moment, but yeah.
And what rabbits purr like cats too?
They kind of vibrate softly. Yeah.
Interesting.
And what's really weird is big cats like tigers and pumas and lions. They actually purr as well. And it's if you are close enough to hear it, it will rattle down your spine.
I don't want to be that close. I'm not gonna lie to you.
It happened to me once, and it scared the living hell out of me.
I remember you telling us that story. The lion, was the lion properly leashed, or was it just under?
It was on like a pit bull chain, like one of those control chains with the little things that stick in the fur.
One of the easily breakable chains.
Well, I mean, the chain on it was like one that you would like tie a car to a truck with. But the actual collar itself, I'm pretty sure it could have shook its head 3 times and been done with that.
Right. Well, luckily you didn't bathe yourself in Kentucky Fried Chicken.
We had just come from breakfast. It was the dumbest thing. Yeah, let's have waffles and go pet a lion. Yeah.
Yeah. Not.
So, Andy, you're going to Vermont. Are you going to go by that place called, I think it's called Vermont Castings, where they make all that cheap crap they sell on late night television? The Trump emblems and the golden handcuffs and
Well, my girlfriend, you might be surprised, is the one who really works out the itinerary. Oh. And I am there. I know we're spending most of our time in Montpelier and hanging around there and avoiding people. And I don't know why my phone is dinging but it is. Sorry about that. And we're gonna see if we can hit the Ben and Jerry's place. We did see, once again, my spectrum-y kind of tendency is that I like going to the same place over and over again. And the last time we were up in Vermont, like 2 years ago, we went to the Ben and Jerry's place. And she's like, "Do we have to do it again?" But I really like it. I really like it. That's my problem.
And finding out that the girlfriend plans your itinerary was the least shocking thing I've heard on your show this month.
Least shocking. Yes. Yeah. Oh, no, the girlfriend says she is all for Ben and Jerry's.
Very nice.
In fact, we are going up, Jesse Beer. We are going to probably get some maple syrup while we're up there. Though I'm sure Dave, as a Canadian, will tell us, you get a majority. The world's largest producer of maple syrup is like Ontario or something like that.
Well, it's Quebec, but no, Quebec. I wasn't going to say that.
I beat you to it, Dave. I beat you to it.
If you've had Quebec maple syrup from a hobby farm in a tin can, like the proper old school Canadian maple syrup, it's 3 times thicker and 100 times more flavorful than the Vermont stuff. So,
well, it's the rust in the can that does it, Dave. It's the rust that makes it thicker, makes it more viscous. It gives you a certain flavor there.
More viscous.
Apparently, it also causes weird beard shape, because you see a lot of that in Quebec too. So,
well, weird beard shape.
Strange, yeah.
Right. I am looking forward to getting away, because once I get back, I actually start my onboarding, the training at my new job, which is 9 to 5, which, I tell you, there's a lot of I don't knows in the next 3 weeks. There's a lot of I don't knows. I don't know what I'm going to be doing.
I have the same thing going on in my life. Like I'm checking to see if work is going to happen today. I don't know what I'd be doing or where I'd be doing it, or if I'm heading for training or if I'm not working today. There's a lot of I don't knows in my days.
Well, I got your message. Congratulations. You're now working, or you have been working the same amount of hours now.
Well, not the same amount of hours, but I've been, my bank account is being refilled similarly to pre-COVID status. So
I can't say that. I can say that I've been fighting a war of the trenches with my bank account. They will not pass. So I've been putting out a very good defense over the last few months.
Yeah, I've been, a little bit of scrambling. I dug into my savings by, a couple of $1,000s here and there to float me over a month that was slower between a month that was better. But it honestly, of all the impact it could have had on my life, it was really minimal in the end.
That's good.
So I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah, it's it just shows you if you are in a position of having a job, and if you're in a position of doing okay, then it's so important to save your pennies and to at least especially down here in the States, because who knows what kind of assistance you're going to get, if any, to save up your money as much as humanly possible.
That whole idea, if you ever talk to a financial counselor or someone who's been wealthy and been not wealthy, or someone who's just, over 55, they will tell you need to have 3 months of living expenses in somewhere saved that you can access.
Yep.
Not in stocks and bonds, not in long-term investments, but you need to have that available if life fell off the wheels, if a bomb went off in the building that you work in, if The government suddenly found out that the person running your business was a criminal and took them away, and it ended the business. They seized the business. If you could no longer work tomorrow, we can all say, yeah, we'd run out and find another job. But during COVID, it ain't that easy.
No.
And do you want to just go grab any job just to survive, or do you want to have a little cushion there so that you can say, okay, well, I have to make a career move here, and I have to apply myself, do up a new CV, go to some interviews, pick the best job for me. You need to have a little cushion there.
Yep.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Broken Man?
Actually, the perfect name tonight. So all these questions reminded me. Last night we did our census.
Oh.
And I think we only do it every 10 years or something. It's not very often. And there was one question in there that really triggered me. And it was when I had to answer about my children. So I had to do each person, and it sort of went from oldest child to youngest. And when I had to answer for my 15-year-old about his religion, I thought that's pretty messed up. But I yelled out to him and was like, "Lucky, what's your religion?" It's like, "Fucking none." Yep, no worries. But then my 5-year-old, right? What's his religion? He's 5.
Yeah.
And it would be undecided at that point, right? There should be a box for.
But you know that all the religious parents out there are tipping the fucking whatever they.
Well, Sam.
My 7-month-old.
Yeah.
What religion? And I was quite triggered. I
believe, and just as a counterpoint to this, a sarcastic counterpoint, the Catholic Church says that at age 5, that's the age of culpability. So God won't count any sin that you do before the age of 5. But after that, it's on the books. It's on, right?
Fuck, man, their God's fucking.
Is there
evil.
actually if you believe in God but you don't believe in any church or religion, or you hate the Catholic Church or whatever, but you still believe that there might be a deity out there? Is there an unaffiliated God on your census? Yeah, it's just God.
There's an
other. There we go.
And then an empty box. So
other. My God is Dave God. He watches over Dave. That's it.
But there was other things like ancestry quirked me as well, because there was no specification to how far back.
Yeah.
So it was all about identity, more than actual ancestry, which is that's cool, but I guess that's very different data to actual genetic sort of ancestry.
And I think that anybody who answers the question of religion with the word spiritual should have to provide citation needed. You can't, if you sit in a room with 8 people who say they're spiritual, none of them believe the same thing.
No.
Well, Dave, if you get a bunch of Catholics together, typically here in the States, at least, they don't agree on the same fucking thing either.
Unless if you're in a Catholic church and you say, who in here identifies as spiritual and who identifies as Catholic, the Catholic people are 95% on board with the same ideals. The spiritual people are all over the spectrum.
I would disagree. See, now this is something that we could get peer reviewed. This is out there somewhere. Because I would say you get 10 Catholics together. There's going to be at least one of them who really thinks transubstantiation is a real thing.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. And you're going to get at least a couple of them who have no idea. Yes, that's with an R. No idea. What the Trinity is. Right? No concept whatsoever. Not that anybody really does. You're going to have at least one who thinks that the virgin birth is bullshit.
Yes.
So there's definitely a wide variety. Now, I think if you get a bunch of spiritual people who self-identify as spiritual, you're going to get some kind of vague but still positive, humanistic kind of responses on, let's say, a 10-question test about how important other people in terms of compassion and empathy. They might have odd ideas about homeopathy, perhaps, but I think you would get really a similar. This is just my own opinion. A similar kind of cross section than you would with Catholics.
I got it. Can I offer a quick story?
Sammy first, and then Dave.
This is real quick. Professor Dave, I don't know if you probably know of him. He's got quite a large channel. Does a lot of science stuff and a lot of debunking, and actually has a lot of science tutorials and I think mathematics tutorials as well. But I recently watched a video, I think like yesterday, where he was just debunking woo or energy, I think, and this term energy, and how it's sort of this across all the spiritual nonsense. They have these certain buzzwords that they all use, like frequency, energy, and quantum. It all means magic. It's not. They've took quantum mechanic ideas and words and language, and they're sort of hijacking those scientific words into their woo. And they at least have that in common, usually.
Yeah.
That basis in energy.
Indeed. So what are you going to say, Dave?
Yesterday, I was at work, and one of the foremen was telling us this story about how he was down in the States, and he was walking through a mall, and he was having discomfort. And a person in one of these crystal healing booths, like the kiosks in the mall, gave him a bracelet to try on and did the whole, do you feel better now? Does it hurt when you raise your arm? Do you, the whole thing? And he ended up buying a $400 hematite bracelet, which he believes is healing him.
How attractive was a young woman?
I did not ask if it was
that would be my first question.
Yeah,
that would be my first question, because I think if you're going to graph it out, there's a positive correlation to how much a man will spend on something stupid to how pretty the person is.
Don't get me wrong, it was a nice looking bracelet. It was nowhere near $400.
No,
in my opinion. And I worked in the craft industry for 12 years, so
I just want to say this is my international sign of magic right here, spellery.
Ooh, spellery.
Of incantation right there.
I like spellery. That's a good word. Yeah. Yeah, and I said nothing. I literally looked at it, and I'm sure my eyes were like vibrating to roll back into my head at the time.
They were harmonizing to a frequency, Dave. That's what they were doing. They're harmonizing to a frequency.
I did the That's all. Sipping my water in the heat.
Well, yeah. You got to call your battles, right? You got to call your battles.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be considered to be that guy at work who does those things that make people feel bad. Oh, yes. Well, yes.
This guy that comes on Andy's channel and always brags about how good his country is.
I didn't get that. I'm sorry, Sammy. What was that?
I said, like, there's this guy that comes on Andy's channel that always brags about his country.
Don't make me put up my flag.
Right.
It's a good country, Dad.
Have you seen Randolph with his 10 flags behind him?
I have seen Randolph, and he is like, wow, that's a lot of Canada right there. That's a lot of it.
You guys have 6 flags. Randolph has 7 flags.
I just want to, tell me if I'm off base with this. Should 6 flags be rebranded as 5 flags? Because one of those flags is the Confederate flag.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, dude.
Why don't they just I mean, simple solution here. Stick the rainbow flag in there.
Oh, Oh, that sounds like a great post. Thank you, Dave.
Damn it! Another freebie for Andy.
because the Six Flags represent the Six Flags that have flown over Texas.
Andy, if that doesn't make 100,000 hits,
It doesn't make
do you know what a fire that is going to light under a large portion of America?
Yeah. So I like the rainbow flag as against to the Confederate flag. I like that a lot, Dave. I mean, yeah, it won't get me a lot of hits, but it's really clever, and I like it a lot.
Why? Like, what are the Six Flags? Like, and why Confederate flag?
Okay, so there's a Six because Six Flags is originally from Texas, and so the Six Flags, and I know this in my brain. I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go. It's of course the U.S. flag, right? It's the Confederate flag. It is the independent country of Texas because Texas was independent for like 2 days.
Is that the Star of Texas flag?
That was, I believe, the Lone Star was the. Yeah.
So one of those flags they had for 2 days.
Yeah. So, well, the Republic of Texas was really an intermediary, a transitional form. That's what it was. It was a transitional form. It was.
Okay.
You have Mexico.
Okay.
And then you have France and Spain. So that's the Six Flags.
Whoa. Mexico, France, and Spain?
Well, yes. Spain owned Mexico. Spain owned Texas for a while. France owned parts of Texas for a while.
Oh, I see. So it's a historical look back at the tragedies that occurred in Texas, and they're putting it on an amusement park.
Because that's what you want to do when you're in Texas and making your own chain of theme parks.
Would they not have had greater success had they used like the flags of the 6 adjacent states and maybe Mexico for their flags so that people from, nearby areas would have enjoyed going there to see their own flag?
Dave, you just don't understand Texas imperialism.
I've been to Dallas-Fort Worth once.
Yeah, Texans are more interested in Texas more than Jesus, more than anything else. They so love Texas. You've heard of American exceptionalism. There is Texas exceptionalism. There's no doubt about it.
And is it in fact exceptional?
Well, if you ask their electrical ERCOT, and how fucked up their electrical grid is, sure, they'll say that they're exceptionally bad. Sure.
Wow, we really drove this one down. We took the school bus down a rabbit hole here this morning.
Right. So the girlfriend said it was originally just in Texas. Then they purchased a bunch of other parks and rebranded them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you did there, Ian Charioteer. French fries are not made in France; they're made in Greece.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't even know how we got to Six Flags, to tell you the truth. I blame it all on myself.
We started off on the vacation curve around the United States,
Yeah.
The Dr. Kennard and Girlfriend World Tour.
Well, we are going to be doing some kind of touring. Like the girlfriend was talking or mentioning in the chat, we were going to go to Pennsylvania originally before Delta kind of put the fear of Delta into us.
Yeah.
And
so tell me, I know, culture and I guess accent, but as someone who lives on the other side of the world on a big fucking island, the idea of going to another country that's just simply crossing an imaginary line on some land is very surreal to me. Like to me, going to another country, you have to cross water.
Right.
Well, you could cross Lake Ontario if you really wanted to cross water. You could go like
Canada. I would have to just to feel like I was going to another country. Or else Canada's just like a northern state.
Wow.
Sammy, I got it. If you ever come here,
the friendly northern state.
There's a place here called Birch Bay. And it is like the where they drew the line between the United States and Canada. There was a tiny outcrop of land at the end of Tawasin native land out there, the indigenous people's land, and just this little like stump. It is a tiny little area of land. They don't even have a full-size golf course, right?
Mm.
But it's a whole bunch of vacation homes, and it's all Canadians that own it.
Oh.
But you have to cross an actual border, and it's the lamest border on earth. I mean, they have concrete barricades and stuff. They have a little building, but if you need to go to the bathroom, there's a porta potty outside, right?
Nice. Well, I mean, it wasn't until, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, it wasn't until 9/11 that you didn't even need a passport. Before 9/11, you didn't need a passport to go up into Canada.
I had actually, before then, as a child, I had crossed without ID for years.
Sure.
Yeah. Are you Canadian? Yep. All right. Yeah. It was wide open, and then they put in the rules where you had to have identification. So your driver's license or British Columbia ID, or I think you could use a BC Hydro bill, like a power bill that showed your address and your name on it.
That's great,
Yeah.
man. Hey, I got my water bill here. Let me go. Let me pass.
No, it wasn't. We don't pay for water in Canada.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you. You and your human rights about having free water. Oh my God.
They just started metering.
You just wait for me to say something like that, Dave, and you say to yourself, oh, I can tell him this.
I was just clarifying the point. There are
Sammy, do you pay for water in
Yes. Fuck you, Dave.
Oh wow. Wow. It gets ugly. Getting ugly here.
There's gonna be a banner, fuck Dave.
It's just jealousy, Dave. I'm gonna tell you this right now. It's just jealousy. It's just jealousy.
We just started metering water like in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. So the places that do charge for water, and there are only certain municipalities that do, they charge $30 a month for as much water as you want. And of course, if you're going to fill a swimming pool, that's a lot of water.
Yeah.
I think it's 1,100 gallons. So, but yeah, you just turn the tap on and let it rip.
Well, what I'm not going to tell people is that Canada is the Saudi Arabia of water, because then it'd just be a matter of minutes maybe before America decides to invade you. I know we've talked about this before.
Yeah, for sure. The moment that we dam up the rivers or turn off the water to Nestle or both, I mean, if there was ever a tariffs put on our products to the point where the government said, okay, that's enough, guys. We know you have all the guns in that, but we have all the friends. So cut it out, or we could literally cause like major problems in the United States if we started constructing dams. I don't know that it would ever get built, because the United States would realize very, very quickly how damaging this would be to their health and their economy.
Oh, right. And
they would take action to stop it, or a really big bomb would go off right at the bottom of it.
There'd be an incident.
An incident, yeah. There was a construction accident at the dam today. Yeah.
Unlike the other accidents that have happened at the other dams at the construction sites.
Well, back in 1982, there was a company out here that did infrastructure projects, and they proposed 5 dams on 5 different rivers so that they could block a certain amount of water and not affect any areas so drastically that it would interrupt stuff. And they would have created enough power for 5 states, all of British Columbia, Alaska included in those 5 states, and Alberta. They could have created all the electricity demand for all of them, and we would have been selling electricity. We would have been the number 1 place on earth for electric cars, because electricity would have been so cheap. And again, it was one of those things where the United States special interests, solar interests, wind farm interests got the better of the Canadian government and swayed the decisions.
Sure. Sammy?
I said bye, John.
Oh,
John.
Okay, take care, John.
Okay, it looks like I might actually get out today. What's going on here?
You got work today?
The slips just came out.
That's late, from what I understand. It's usually 1:15. See, I know things.
It's been worse. No, nothing yet, but I'm on the list of next to calls. So we shall see.
See, here in Australia, we get charged twice for our water in a sense.
Yeah.
If you rent, you don't, because you just pay usage, and the landlord pays the rates, the water rates. But if you own your property, you pay rates, for the pipes to bring the water, and then you pay your usage as well.
The girl. Yeah.
Yeah, we want to sell, but right now the government made a really bad decision, and it looked like a back pocket deal for the people making the decision, and they gave Nestle the rights to all of the clean water coming through a certain area for $1 a year. So that's not beneficial to Canada in any way.
Yeah.
So the practical end of that is we're either going to shut the tap off or they're going to start paying for it. As soon as another government comes into power, which we're having an election, they've called an election. So if the Liberal government in Canada gets voted out, it's very likely that deal will be rescinded.
Just thinking about water here in the States is that not only do you have to pay for water, but you have to be very suspicious about whether or not you're getting poisoned with the water via the lead pipes that are feeding into your home, or the lead pipes actually in your home too. One of the things about Biden's infrastructure bill is that it's spending a lot of money on ripping up some of the old lead pipes, supplying homes and such, and that's positive, very positive.
Yeah, in Canada, quite often the quality of the water in the bottles that you can buy in the store is exactly the same as tap water.
Yeah.
And they say it's purer because it doesn't have any of the fluoride and chemicals I don't think they put fluoride in it anymore.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any of the trace elements of cleaning agents. But nowadays they're using cleaning agents that have been tested to the highest degree to not have any effect on humans. And the water itself, like straight out of the tap, like I said, you can run 1,100 gallons out of the tap, and it's just as clean as any bottled water that you can get here.
They'll be putting bloody 5G in it next.
Oh,
worse yet, 5G fluorinated microchips.
Hello, is the caller there? Fluoride turns the frog. Trust me, if there was anything 5G, fluoride, whatever InfoWars has been posting, if there was anything that turned people's genders on or off or made people gay, the rainbow community would know about it. They would be on that, right? Yeah, we got it all figured out. Big lab, big rainbow on the front. Got all the details, right?
What can you tell me? Because a couple years back, Australia had this big uproar about hormones in meat. Is it detrimental? Because that was in your show tonight, Andy.
I am pretty sure. Well, what do we know? We know that antibiotics, and that's one of the things that makes the meat industry so different, so toxic here in the States, is that using too many antibiotics with meat that is detrimental.
Well, not using those antibiotics has other effects on the meat and the animals that would be detrimental to not only the farm but the people eating meat, right? So,
well, when and this is going to sound like a big duh moment, when you cram animals in close together, of course you need to pump them full of antibiotics, because if one cow gets a disease, it's going to spread like wildfire, right? So this is the problem with factory farms.
Yeah.
Well, this particular uproar was estrogen being pumped into chickens to fatten them up and probably increase egg laying Who knows?
I
And
think that
of
was also-
course, there was the the boys are getting the estrogen and whatnot. But
Yeah, I haven't
I
heard of
just
any.
wondered what was the detrimental effects, because it actually there was legislation made around it in Australia.
I'll say that, Dave. Go ahead.
in Canada, we had an issue with this a long time ago. I'm thinking it was the 90s. But what they were doing is they were essentially injecting the chickens with growth hormones so that they'd hit a second puberty, and they'd plump out even further so that they'd have bigger, heavier chickens with more meat on them. The chickens were barely able to walk. They had all kinds of issues with the chickens. But what they found at the time was the prison systems in Canada were buying all of this meat, which was not grade A meat, and feeding it to prisoners. And they had an outbreak Canada-wide of male prisoners that were on this diet regularly. And they actually got to the point where they had to address it because male prisoners were lactating. Like lots of male prisoners were lactating.
I feel like I need to look.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's funny because when you were saying things, Dave, just now, I'm looking at the Journal of Clinical Oncology about whether or not dietary estrogen intake from meat is related to incidence of hormone-related cancers. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm hearing every third word, and all of a sudden I'm hearing male prisoners lactating. And I'm going, I have to stop whatever the hell I'm doing.
I know this because at the time I was doing a craft program with a company called Justin Gems, and I was taking out craft products to Mountain Institution, Kent Institution, the Langley Institution, the women's prison, to other facilities as they needed them. And they were talking about how desperately bad the food was there, and telling me about these guys keep going to the doctor saying, what the hell is going on? What are you feeding me? Is there some sort of science project going on here? Because there was and it wasn't a couple of people, right? It was like right across Canada, and it was because of the diet they gave them. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So the interesting thing when you start Googling this, so this is what I just Googled: men lactating from estrogen, and I threw in Snopes in there too, just to see if Snopes did something on this. And you find out all kinds of funny things, right? Does smoking pot cause man boobs? This was a CNN story, 2010 from 2013. Which maybe, I don't know. And then about male lactation, and I don't know. Strange but true. There's something from Scientific American from 2007. Strange but true.
Maybe the smoking pot's at the top of a very long line of steps that end up at man boobs.
Now, remember, men are all different, so we all have a different T level, right? Like they can measure your testosterone level.
Yeah.
If you have a low enough testosterone level, and like that was a friend of mine, Fred. He had, I think it was colon cancer. He had an issue, and he also had respiratory illness, and they gave him estrogen as part of the therapy to help relieve whatever was the case. And one of the side effects that they told him to watch for was lactating. That means if they had given him enough to make him lactate, they were probably giving him too high a dose.
Okay.
So it depends on the person. It depends on what the diet is, what their regular diet is, what additional therapy, drug, whatever they're on. And in Canadian prisons, there's a significant amount of drugs inside. Prison guards don't make a lot of money. So those prison guards who are affiliated with people who have access to drugs will take advantage of that situation to make a great deal of money.
Okay, so from I saw on Snopes, and this is the longest article I've ever seen on Snopes. Court rules on breastfeeding discrimination. Men can lactate too.
Oh no.
So I heard, Andy, years ago, and I'll let you choose whether you want to look into it later on, but was a tribe where the men produced the prolactin, I think it's called.
Prolactin, I remember that from anatomy and physiology. Yeah.
And if they let their infant suck on their man boob enough, they would begin to produce milk, and they could breastfeed in place of the mother, or as well as the mother.
Male humans have been known to produce milk given the right circumstances.
But very low amounts.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's been proved that direct nipple stimulation over a period of time, along with a spike in hormone prolactin, the hormone that allows for lactation to occur, that indeed men can lactate. Does this mean does this mean that dad should start breastfeeding? No, don't try to milk this for all it's worth.
Oh.
Male lactation is often the result of a brain tumor or a hormonal imbalance. Yeah. So I guess we definitely know that males can lactate.
And that's why you all watch this show, people.
I learned something new and disturbing, and I'm going to try to scrub that out of my brain. Am I going to blame Dave for this story?
No.
For this image I have? You know, Dave, we just went down this rabbit hole here about male lactation, and I feel like when I talk to my therapist about this, I'm going to have to blame Canada somehow. That's what I'm going to have to do.
I would like to point out that you are driving the bus that went down the rabbit hole.
Blame the victim. That's what I hear.
You're steering.
Blaming
You're
the victim.
steering this ship.
Yeah, there's no steering on this show. We should all know that, right? There's no steering. And Dave, you did the classic example, right? And this is what happens, is that someone makes an assertion and the other person is like trying to go, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So well played, sir. Well played.
Andy, I do that all the time. Like, you know, when my friend yesterday was telling me about how the bracelet is made of stuff that pulls like radiation out of the body and identifies pain sensors in the brain.
Were there negative ions mentioned, Dave?
There was negative ions for sure. He said that. Yeah. And there I am biting on my tongue so hard the blood is like running out of the corners of my mouth.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You can't say those words that you want to say.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so what are you guys doing this weekend? You doing anything exciting? Sammy, do you work all the time being in charge like of a company? Do you just like work 7 days a week?
Days and nights, Andy. I really only stop for your show.
Well, I appreciate that, sir. I do appreciate that.
Or if I pass out.
Having broken sleep. That's what it. I know we were talking though. You get like you have two distinct sleep patterns.
Yeah. It's odd, but I found out that it was very, very common amongst Western society for a long time.
That's right.
Everyone.
Yeah, true enough.
Sleep.
True enough.
Wake up for a feed and
right, a little
bit of rumpy pumpy with the missus. I'm not so lucky. I'm alone when I wake up.
Greetings from somewhere in Cheshire. Sounds very mysterious, Phil Lister.
Now, is it Cheshire or is it Cheshire?
I think it's probably Cheshire.
But I like your idea of how you pronounce that.
Cheshire. It makes me think of Lord of the Rings. That's what it is. Somewhere in the Shire. It's a particular section of the Shire, right?
It could be Cheshire.
It could be Cheshire, right? That's what it could be.
Yeah. You go to Cheshire to get your chakras aligned.
Oh, wow. You need to get all, 7 of those chakras aligned?
It depends on
in Australian, it would be Cheshire.
Cheshire.
Fucking Cheshire, bro.
I think that's Essex you're talking about there. What do they call it? The Badlands between the A5 and the A13?
All right. I think I'm going to start closing down the show. It's like that time. And
thank all the lovely people for being here and for supporting the show, especially our wonderful BFA out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm going to be, I'm going to try to make a good faithless effort.
Oh, happy Friday the 13th.
Oh, that's right. This is Reinstatement Day. Did you know that? Donald Trump. Yes, I wrote a poem about it this morning. This is the day that Donald Trump is supposed to be back in office, as stated by the seer, the prophet himself, Mike Lindell. This is true. Mike Lindell prophesized Donald Trump would be back in office. I can't believe I've been on fucking screen for 2 hours. I haven't even talked about it once.
Well, there's always Monday. Oh no, there isn't.
There might be Monday. There might be Monday for me. We'll see.
Give us a heads up. Give us an early. You know how you post on YouTube that the show. Put the reminder. Give us an early heads up if you're going to pull it off, and we'll be here for you with you.
Well, we're going to be up in the hotel on tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be up there, and I'll check out the strength of the internet then, and see what I can do. But thanks everyone.
And if the girlfriend pulls the plug on the internet because she wants some Andy time, we totally understand.
Let me tell you, this is just a plot of hers so that she can get sleep in the morning. Much like Sammy, my sleep patterns are all over the fucking place. And so I will get up early. She sleeps in, and she's like, "Just do your show, Andy. Just do your show. Be occupied. Don't bother me." And I think that's part of her survival strategy for the 7-day period that we're doing.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy your time away in Vermont. And if we see you, great. If we don't, we'll see you when you get back.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thanks, Dave. Thanks, a broken man, Sammy. Turn that frown upside down, Sam. See, you're on the other side of the world, so your frown has to be upside down, right?
And that's why I come on here, Andy. You fix me.
That's
me back together.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Ever.